And here you go. And beautifully ripe too, if I do say so myself. We're eating green. Eating green. Eating green. We're eating green. Hi friends, welcome to another episode of Eating Green, where we redefine cannabis-infused food. My name is Chef Jordan Wagman. About 6 years ago, I sought the help of a naturopath. I was tired of dealing with the effects of my psoriasis, and from one meeting, I removed gluten, dairy, and refined sugar and started eating cannabis. My life changed. 60 days later, 30 pounds melted off my body and my psoriasis started to go away. Today, I love the same foods I grew up with. I just use a few different ingredients. On today's episode of Eating Green, one of my signature desserts, clean, infused chocolate brownies. Here we go. Typically, when you're making brownies, you're using two kinds of fats, butter and oil. I've replaced both the butter and oil with my favorites. I have an aroma-free coconut oil. In my family, my kids do not love the flavor of coconut, but they do love the mouthfeel of butter. This provides me with everything that I need. When it cools down and the brownie cools down and it takes on that fudgy texture, that's what butter does and that's what coconut oil does. We add coconut oil to our double boiler. This double boiler is just a bowl that is placed on top of a pot of boiling water. And it's a very gentle way to make pastries, especially when you're cooking with chocolate. I'm adding my maple syrup to the pan, and I'm adding about a half a cup of maple syrup. Add as much or as little as you want. Next, we have cacao. Cacao, when mixed with some sort of sugar, some sort of sweetener, it becomes chocolate. All on its own, very, very bitter. We're gonna add a couple tablespoons to our coconut oil and maple syrup. A little bit more. Now, I'm going to add my favorite, avocado. Avocado is basically a blank canvas. When you give it flavor, it takes on that flavor. This is how I cut my avocado. I go right from the tip of my knife, I just go right down till I reach the pit. And then I will roll my avocado right down my knife. Right here. And here you go. And beautifully ripe too, if I do say so myself. So here's how we release the pit. We take our knife, we take the heel of our knife. This is the tip, this is the heel. We're going to take it in, we're gonna gently place it right into the pit, and we're gonna twist it to release it, and it comes out. I take my thumb, and I'm just going to gently push it right back in. And here we are. I release the pit, and I add the avocado right to this mixture. Here, and the other half here. Now, I have another ingredient that I like to use always when I'm making chocolate, and that is coffee. A little bit of coffee goes a very long way to bring out all of those chocolatey notes. And when you're using just cacao and maple syrup to create chocolate, we need all the help we can get. We're adding coffee to this mixture, and we are going to bring it to a simmer, and we're waiting for only two things to happen. The coconut oil to melt, right? It started off as a solid, it's going to become a liquid. We're waiting for the chocolate or the cacao to dissolve into this mixture, and it's going to take on a glossy, beautiful chocolate sauce feel. It's going to take about 5 minutes. We'll see you in 5 minutes. We're gonna cool it down. We're gonna puree it with our cannabis, and then we're going to add our almond flour. Stay tuned. See you in about 5. It's been 5 minutes. Our mixture, both chocolatey and glossy, it's perfect. We're gonna transfer it to the blender, puree till smooth with our cannabis. Here's a little trick. The top of your blender has a little insert that's removed. When you're pureeing something warm, always remove that and cover with the towel so the steam has somewhere to escape. If you don't, you'll release the top and the mixture in the blender will be all over your ceiling. Let's transfer it to the blender and we're going to puree. I'll see you back in a minute. We took our coconut oil, our maple syrup, our cacao, and our avocado. We brought it up to a simmer. We melted all that coconut oil. We made sure all the cacao was dissolved. We took that warm mixture, we put it into a blender with our cannabis, and we pureed until smooth. And look how gorgeous that is. To this mixture, now we're going to boost up the flavor a little bit. And these two components, these two ingredients, totally optional. I highly recommend. I love cooking with a little bit of coffee. It brings up all those chocolate notes in our beautiful chocolate brownie. I'm just adding a little bit of decaf instant coffee. If you have leftover coffee, sometimes you can reduce that down with some maple syrup and almost make a coffee syrup. That's fantastic in this recipe. I have some beautiful organic vanilla. I'm gonna add just a little dash of that, and I'm gonna combine this together. And as this mixture, or as the coffee starts to get into this mixture and we work it in, it starts to dissolve. Last but not least, what makes this a brownie is the addition of almond flour. So we are going to add almond flour to this mixture. Really, you can add as much or as little as you want, but I want the mixture to be somewhat loose, but I do want, when it cools down, for it to hold like it's a fudgy brownie. So I'm gonna work all of this almond flour in until I can't see any more white spots. Stay with me. So, our almond flour is fully incorporated into this mixture. We have our instant coffee that's dissolved. We've added our vanilla, and we've created our brownie mix. So this batter, you're gonna take it, we're gonna fill up our ramekins, we're gonna bake it in a preheated 300 Fahrenheit oven. We're going to wait for the top to get all bubbly and the sides of the brownie to be pulling away from that ramekin. That's how we know it's done. But you know what? This happens to be a raw mixture. There's nothing that we have to wait for to cook. You could take this mixture, put it into the ramekins, and put them in the freezer and serve them as a frozen brownie. They'd be awesome. I'm gonna fill up my ramekins here. I'm gonna transfer them to the oven, and I'll see you in about 10 minutes. So we took that puree, we combined it with our coffee, our vanilla, and we thickened it with our almond flour. We put that batter into ramekins and we baked it in a preheated oven at 300 degrees Fahrenheit until the tops were all bubbly and the sides were pulling away from the ramekin, just like this. And here we have it. The ooey gooey, perfectly clean, perfectly infused, perfectly delicious, and probably perfectly all over my face chocolate brownie. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Eating Green. And don't forget, eating green. We're eating green. Eating green. Eating green.